Much shorter this time, promise. Give me 5 or 6 minutes. I want you to think about a couple of passages in Scripture which don't get a lot of mention. One is Exodus 17. Moses is leading the people of Israel and the Amalekites are coming. Amalekites are always bad guys in the Old Testament. And so they come, and in Exodus 17 they meet. There's a great battle. But Moses goes up early and gets on a rise and holds the staff of God, that rod that he had used to great effect in front of Pharaoh and also to the parting the Red Sea. And he holds his arms up. And as long as he holds his arms up, the battle goes Israel's way. But he's an old man and he gets tired. And when the arms start coming down, they start losing. Now, why this would be is not really explained at all in Scripture. And you get to make up your own story. But my point is that Aaron and a man named Hur, H-U-R, come, and first of all, they see he's tired, so they get a stone for the old man Moses to sit on. That way, maybe he can keep his arms up a bit more, but it's still, and so they get on both sides of him and they hold his arms up. And so here's this old man sitting on a stone and two people are holding his arms up. And because Aaron and Hur jumped in to hold up his arms, Israel wins the battle. There's a big memorial they put there. The Lord is my banner. And God says, I'm going to go after those Amalekites because we've beaten them. We've got them on the run. Good story. Now, we go all the way into Acts. And in Acts, we find that Paul, he's new. Acts 9, he's new. He used to be the bad guy. He was the guy named Saul back at the day. And it was not unusual to change your names and to have different versions of your name. That was very common back then because it was a multilingual society and names, they changed. So don't get too excited about that. But everybody had known Paul, we're just going to call him Paul, as somebody who attacked the church and was evil at the church and went after the church. And then after his conversion, he disappears for a while. We find out later what was going on. That not today. We're not going to talk about it. And then he comes back, same chapter, Acts 9. And he's going after anybody who doesn't believe in Jesus. I mean, what a flip. It's 180 degrees. And he grows more and more powerful every day. And some of the Jewish leaders were going, well, first of all, this guy used to be on our side. Now he's a very powerful speaker on the other side. We have to shut him up. And they made plans to kill him. But the people who were Saul's friends, Paul's friends at the time, there in Damascus, got him out of the city. Now, city ins and outs were tightly controlled. Every gate had guards and judges present, and they were locked at certain times or blocked at certain times. So the only way to get him out was to lower him in a basket through an opening in the wall at night. Now, who did that? Who saved Paul so that he could go on to write, because he had not written a word at this time, that he could go on to write all of those books, that he could go on to lead all of those churches, that he could go and unfold the theology of the risen Christ so that we today, 2,000 years later, can just go and look it up on our phones. Who lowered him? We don't know. And most people, if they were talking about the way Moses led, would never say, there was a guy named Hur, who he really was a big part of the win of the battle over the Amalekites. We don't mention them. And in Acts 9, they're not even named. We don't know male or female or how many. And here's the point. We may not be the heroes. We may not be the marquee names in this story. And that's just fine, because nobody can be a hero or a marquee name unless others hold their arms up, unless others protect them and lower them through a wall opening when necessary. Other people is what makes heroes possible. Think about movies right now. Movie theaters are not releasing the big movies like they used to because we can't go. And if they put them on just online, they're not going to get nearly that much money. All of a sudden, these Hollywood stars that were making, 10 million and 50 million a picture, they're not getting the money. Why? Because us little people aren't funding them. We're not holding their arms up. So it's really important to ask you a question. By the way you spend your money, you spend your time, by your entertainment, by the way you live your life, whose arms are you holding up? Are you holding up the arms of Jesus and God, or are you holding up the arms of cultural and political influences that attack our faith and that make being a chaste and modest individual a very difficult thing to do? Whose arms are you lifting up? That's the negative side. Here's the positive side. Lift up some arms. Lower some people through the wall. Give. Very difficult. With unemployment surging right now, just unbelievably. I believe we'll come back and come back quickly, but I'm not a prophet, so I could be wrong. So what am I asking? I'm asking for those of us who still have a job to give more, to help others. Lower them over the wall in a basket. Raise their arms up. Share what you have. If you have empty rooms, if you have stuff in your garage that's that's dusty, has not been used, let's turn these things over somehow to hold up other people's arms and to encourage them. Let's give, let's share, and let's befriend. Racism will not end when heroes get up and talk to us, because we've had heroes talk to us. And they've done very well, and it didn't end it. It's got to be the people who aren't even named who just go hold up each other's arms. If Ahmaud Arbery had had friends in that neighborhood, maybe it would have changed. But we have to befriend. We can't just sit in our homes and say, well, you know something, got nothing against anybody. No, we have to get past it and go be their friend. Somehow, be their friend. We're therefore holding God's arms up. We're therefore lowering our friends in a basket over the wall so that they are safe. We may never get named for that. They may never call us a hero. But heroes can't exist unless others hold up their arms. So encourage somebody today. Encourage 5 people this week. Go out of your way to encourage them. And go out of your way to support the good, whatever you see. Last thing, when I used to do a lot of marriage and family seminars back when I was a shrink, one of the things I would tell parents to do is super praise your kid. Now, super praise your kid is not this nonsense of always telling your kid that everything they do is brilliant and that they are the world's best kid in all ways. That's not very healthy. We don't want to be critical of kids, but we want to be realistic. What super praise is catch them doing good and praise them for it in the presence of someone else. What are you doing by that? You're lifting up their arms. So, give, share, befriend, encourage, support. And you'll be the person that makes heroes possible.